Ms. Mongaya with us today. She's the manager in policy and government initiatives for Rare Philippines. In the invitation, you saw that this forum is very important because it talks about fisheries, which is the poorest sector and perhaps the most exploited in our country. But the good thing about it is, as our departed chair and today honorary chairman said, our objective here is to not only transfer knowledge, but to see if we can use this knowledge to do our objective, which is countryside development and poverty reduction. We're businessmen, and therefore we want to use what God gave us to help. So we have leaders such as Candeze here, Candice here, and we'd like her to share with us first a bit about her story, how she got into this, so we have a personal connection, because our objective is to talk after the forum, and we want our work to be in between forums. So we want to do action to fulfill the mission that was given to us by our departed chair. Basically, given that we will, as you know, have an 8 to 9 meeting, and then which will be recorded worldwide 2 weeks later for free. And then 9 to 10 is discussion, maybe some action plans. I like to state for you that she looks at real things, no? Not just academic policies that are relevant, make sure that the private sector and government issues are in tune with actual needs, because often we find that people give things that are not needed, right? And she's really very people oriented. She's also a journalist that spreads the word, no? Having studied at the University of the Philippines journalism. But I guess she's more an activist, I would say, right now, because she changes the world and we want her to change the world, to help her change the world. So basically our chair is abroad, use Barcelona. Taking his place is Mr. Yupanco. And basically, we'd like to start off right now while waiting for Mr. Yupanco. We start off with Candice, give her a talk. And in that talk, we like to state that it's critical. She shares with us first her life, well, not so much her entire life, but what brought her into this, a personal relationship. And part of that is what we can do to help her fulfill her mission, correct? So on that note, I like to state that when Rizal said youth is the hope of the fatherland, I belong to that generation that helped being the hope of the fatherland, in the sense that many of my friends died in the EDSA revolution. And but I guess we haven't done a great job. So I think the hope is more now with the generation where Candice is part, and we, the older generation who did well in the revolution but did so well after that, would like to help her generation so that our children and children's children will have a better future. So with that note, I'd like to turn over to Candeze Mongaya, and then Robert Yupanco. When you come in, just come in anytime and just take over. While you're not here, I'll take your place. Okay, on that note, Candice, can you take it away, please?
Thank you so much for that very insightful sharing on a Tuesday morning, Sir Ernie. So hello everyone. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for inviting us to share some of the work that we're doing in marine conservation and to support our small-scale fisheries in the Philippines. My name is Candeze Mongaya. I'm from Rare Philippines. We're a marine conservation NGO that use behavior change for marine conservation. So it's nice to see everyone. Thanks everyone, and good morning again. Thanks for inviting me to this event. So this morning we'll have a discussion on the state of artisanal fisheries in the Philippines. So what's the importance of our municipal fisheries to the Philippine economy, and what are some of the challenges and issues that we currently encounter in pushing for the rights of our fishers, and what are some of the lessons that we've learned in the best practices that we've encountered along the way. So these are some of the key takeaways that we hope to get from this morning's conversation. So this is the flow of my discussion. Next slide, please. So we'll talk about the state of Philippine fisheries, the importance of the municipal fishing sector to the Philippine economy, and again, some of the issues and challenges and the bright spots and opportunities that we have seen and encountered along the way. The next slide, please. So before we proceed, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Candeze Mongaya from the policy team of RARE Philippines. So we at RARE, we're an international behavior change organization that work in conservation. Especially in the Philippines, we closely work with coastal communities and government agencies for community-based management of marine resources. So we inspire positive behavior change so fishers will observe sustainable fishing practices and behaviors like fishing in the right place, fishing at the right time, and catching the right size of fish. And to ensure that they are also able to participate in community-based decision-making, community-based management in their communities, and also ensuring that they are financially resilient. And there's an enabling policy environment for our communities and LGUs to meaningfully participate in. Since 2010, we at RARE have worked with around 75 coastal municipalities in implementing our Fish Forever program, a sustainable coastal fisheries program. So just a brief overview of what our the Fish Forever program is. Again, we focus on ensuring community-based management for sustainable coastal fisheries, and these are the pillars that we are looking at. We give special focus to coastal communities, to coastal LGU partners, and engagement with sub-regional and national government agencies. So to focus on these pillars like our policy and governance, how to conduct effective community engagement and behavior adoption in the community level, ensuring that the fishing areas in the coast are properly zoned, and there's evidence-based decision making in terms of identifying which areas should be strictly left for spawning and for the larval dispersal, and areas where there's access for the protection, for the equitable regulation of effort. And at the same time, we strongly focus on ensuring that our coastal LGU partners have access to financial services and social protection, and having a financial mechanism to sustain the management of their coastal LGUs. Next slide, please. So why are we giving a special emphasis on our coastal communities and our municipal waters? Because as an archipelagic country, 6.1 million Filipinos depend on the sea for food and livelihood. And according to the UN Food and Agriculture Office, we have almost 1.9 million registered municipal fishers in the country. And unfortunately, the Philippine Statistics Authority said that our fishers are still the poorest of the poor, with the poverty incidence among fishers at 34% based on the 2015 PSA data. And the PSA data also says that the fishers are the poorest of the poor among the basic sectors, including our farmers, children, the unpaid family workers, women, migrant and formal sector workers, the senior citizens. So among all these sectors, our municipal fishers are the poorest of the poor. So there's really a need to ensure equity, sectoral equity. There's a need to continue to support and empower our coastal communities and our coastal fisheries. And of course, in terms of food security, 56% of Filipinos' animal protein in the Philippines comes from fish. This is from a news report of the Philippine News Agency. According to the report, per capita, Filipinos consume about 60 kilos of meat protein per year, and 60% of that, or roughly 36 kilos, come from fish. So we're a fish-eating country. And just an overview of on the meat of our discussion. So what is the impact of municipal fishers and small-scale fisheries to our country? So as we know, as a pelagic country, consists of thousands of islands that's really dependent on the sea for food and livelihood. And the Philippines is the heart, it's center of the coral triangle. It's the the Center for Marine Biodiversity in the world. So it's only prudent that we put safety measures to ensure that while we are taking resource from it, we're also putting safeguards to ensure that the habitat are protected and can also bounce back. And again, we are a fishing country with nearly 2 billion active fishers, and 80% of which of these fishers are classified as small scale fishers. Hold on. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Sorry, yes, next slide. All right, thank you. So according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, the fishery sector, or the municipal fishery sector, the fishery sector currently contributes 1.3% of the Philippines' GDP. And in 2015, it contributed almost $4.33 billion to the country's economy. So this data is just, this contribution is just from the fishery sector in the Philippines. And as you can see, the fishery sector really provides a huge chunk in terms of contribution to our Philippines GDP. And next slide, please. This table shows the segregated data from the Comprehensive National Fisheries Industry Development Plan for 2021 to 2025. So the CNFIDP is sort of the roadmap of the Department of Agriculture as basis on which strategies would they prioritize and programs in terms of fisheries in the country. So based on this aggregated data from 2018 to 2020, we can see the contribution of the fishery sector to the Philippine economy. This is segregated between the commercial, the municipal, and the aquaculture sectors. And in the middle, we can see the figures for the municipal. So for example, in 2020, during the start of the pandemic, the municipal fishing sector is really one of the safeguards to ensure that we have food security despite the pandemic and contributing this much to the Philippine economy. Next slide, please. However, with these contribution in mind, we can still we can also see this data is from the report on the state of artisanal fisheries in the Philippines. Also, this data is also from the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. So we can see through the years there has been a dip in the production of municipal capture fisheries and aquaculture production. However, in 2019, it started to bounce back. However, it declined again in 2020, 2021 due to the pandemic, and there's really a lot of limitations in terms of fishing there to observe safety protocols, among others. And however, in the report from the Department of Agriculture and the DTI, it still cites the capture municipal fisheries as the frontliners for food security and continues to be one of the top food providers during the pandemic. So next slide, please. So given that our municipal fishers significantly contribute to food security and to the Philippine economy, this is a picture of the registered fishers in the Philippines. So as of last year, there's a total of 2.1 registered fishers. And when we think about fishers, it's not just those who go out to the sea, but we also have fish vendors. We also have fish workers, food processors. We also have the gleaners, and they are also, we also have from the aquaculture sector, we also have from the fish processing, and they are also considered as registered fishers. And as we can see, majority of the registered fishers are male. However, most of the vendors, the gleaners, and those in fish processing are women. Next slide, please. So one of the ways also to ensure that our fishers can be financially resilient and would have access to formal credit facilities Fisherfolk cooperatives have been established nationwide to support our municipal fishers, and these are currently this data is also based on the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. And so far, these are the number of fisherfolk cooperatives throughout the years that has been established in coastal communities. So as we can see, most of the cooperatives are established in Region 4A. So that's in our neighbor in NCR, the Calabarzon. The Calabarzon region has the most number of fisherfolk cooperatives. And later on, we will also share one of the bright spots on how some of the fisherfolk cooperatives, despite the challenges, were able to successfully provide like accessible formal credit access to our fishers and help ensure that our municipal fishers could be financially resilient. Speaking of resilience, next slide, please. Yeah, so speaking of resilience, we also bear the brunt of climate change, especially our municipal fishers. So this data is from the Department of Agriculture DRRM Operations Center, the fisheries damage and losses due to tropical storms. So throughout the years, billions of in loss and damages have been incurred in fisheries, especially by municipal fishers. And aside from the impact to the production and the number of fishers affected, which is worth billions, our coastal communities are the often devastated by strong typhoons, and their homes and their communities are wrecked, and their boats and their fishing gears are damaged. And worse, during the stormy season, they can't go fishing, which also results on top of all the damages, also results to the loss of their income. So next slide, please. So what are some of the issues and challenges that our artisanal fishers are currently experiencing? So firsthand, whenever we speak with our municipal fishers in the community, and data also shows that there's a declining fish stocks in our major fishing grounds. There's continuous degradation of habitats. There's also in some areas a conflict between resource users. For example, the issue of access in terms of municipal fishers and commercial fishers, and also the impact of climate change. According to a study from UPMSI, the climate change is projected to have negative economic impacts on the fishery sector in the Philippines, and it's estimated that there could be a projected decrease of 9 to 18% on the fisheries GDP under the climate change scenarios for the country. And although there has been several programs and support that's given to our municipal fishers, there still continues in terms of providing priority in budget and fisheries program for the fishery sector in general. It's not really given that much priority. And also one of the things that we're focusing is hopefully to have the Department of Fisheries and Aquaculture, and not just be a bureau under the Department of Agriculture. So there will be enough budget appropriation, there will be enough institutional and governance focus for the fishery sector once it becomes a department. And that's one of the things also that we are looking at. So that's the overview of the issues and challenges, just some of the issues and challenges that's faced by the municipal fishing sectors in general. However, what are some of the bright spots and opportunities? And these are some of the things that we're also working at RARE and other partners in the NGO network, and at the same time with our partner government agencies such as the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, the Interior and Local Government, and the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. So we see based on our model of Fish Forever, that if once we give an enabling policy mechanism and community support for our fishers, they could be empowered enough to participate and ensure that there's effective management bodies on the community level. So This includes like the formation of our municipal fisheries resources, aquatic resources council, and at the same time, if we guide them and show them how they can organize themselves, have cooperatives, or in our sites what we call the savings club, there's opportunity to increase financial resilience among fishing household. And third, if we continue to engage and advocate for focus on programs and for the rights of our municipal fishers and the fishing sectors in general, government agencies will also respond, and there's space for participatory policy making with the national and subnational government level. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So just to see, these are some of the like information or the details on how we at Rare like really ensure that we focus on working on the bright spots for our municipal fishers and some of the venues where we continue to engage with the municipal fishing sector in the community level and in the subnational and national level. So again, we at Rare, we inspire responsible fishing behavior. So on enabling policies for the fishers to follow behaviors for proper fishing and catching fish at the right place at the right time. And one of our programs for Rare also, next slide please, is to work with LGUs in establishing marine protected areas. So focusing based on the larval dispersal data in certain fishing grounds, focusing which areas need strict protection and which areas fishing activities could be conducted. Next slide, please. In terms of climate resilience also, we help coastal LGUs, for example, in conducting their climate change vulnerability assessment. And this is used for in doing planning in their community level and in doing the decision making, for example, on which areas the coastal LGUs, for those who are identified as vulnerable to climate change, where are the proper areas for them to be able to relocate, and these factors among others. Next slide, please. More importantly, we're very focused on behavior change and ensuring that or helping facilitate that our communities will have a sense of ownership and a sense of pride of their resources and the management of their area. So in some of the places that in some of our sites, we also develop the mascots of a flagship species, and these mascots are also part of the community celebration. For example, in fiestas, if there's like activities in the municipal hall. So these mascots represent the pride and ownership of their resources and the value, the gem of their coastal habitat in the communities. Next slide, please. And also in some of our sites, we help organize savings club for especially for the women. So this is empowerment through financial literacy. Why we are in the process of ensuring that our coastal fishers have access to formal credit facilities. We also guide them for them to organize themselves and have monthly savings and rotate these savings into loans, and at the end of the year, they have cash out from their savings and from the interest of the loans. And these model have proven useful. For example, in our site in Siargao, when Typhoon Odette hit, the members of the savings club, after the devastation of Typhoon Odette, since they have savings, they were able to buy roofs already and for their house. So that's one way of parang seeing they can save for the future, and they have access and guidance on how to save, so they can also use this in times of need, like for example during the typhoon. So just a key takeaway that I hope we get from this conversation. Again, the municipal fishing capture fisheries significantly contribute to livelihood and food security. And some of the issues that our fishers continue to encounter is the degradation of habitat, diminishing resources, and conflict in resource use, and of course, the impact of climate change to their communities and to their catch and to their livelihood. And what are the bright spots? So there's action, there's venues for collaboration and empowerment for our municipal fishers, such as participating in decision making in the local government level. And at the same time, venues for empowerment once through the savings club that they have established and continue to do so to this day. So that's the end of my presentation, and here's my email and my mobile number if you have questions or you want to get in touch for further discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Candice. Just to let you know, one of the dynamite people here probably got the best in our group as an entrepreneur. Just arrived, no? Mr. Yupanko. But before I give the thing to him, I'd like to say a few things. First of all, could you state on the air, because we know we can read it, but many people are abroad. Can you state on the air what number we can reach you at verbally? What phone number we can reach you at? Let's see, you're on mute right now.
I'm sorry. So can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Hear
So
you,
my
yes, please.
my email is C Mongaya. So that's Charlie Mama. I am not really that good in this. C Mongaya. I hope you can see my family name. So that's the spelling of my email. cmongaya@rare.org. And our office number is 032-412-2813.
That's
Say
a
it
phone.
again, please.
032-412-2813. I'll also post it in the chat.
All right. Okay. That being said, Robert, thanks for coming. Candice, just want to say I have Googled your rare site. I think what you presented is more impressive. And before I go, Robert, as you know, I asked at the very last, right? But I'll just ask now. I did say you must tell us how we can help you, and you did in your presentation. But can you say it more concisely to us? We are a bunch of agribusinessmen mostly, and we'd like you to state again what we can do, because we really admire what you're doing, etc. But what can we do? Of course, we can give donations and spread the word and all that. But what else can we do? For example, if you have trouble, like Department of Fisheries, which you should have, right? We're in Manila, etc. So and we're in touch with them. We are a member of the overall council, one of the chairs of the legislated Philippine Council for Agricultural Fisheries. We're with them once every 2 weeks, right? So if you have a message, so can you tell us what we can do with the audience listening now, and maybe the international audience, which will be listening to you also in a couple of weeks? What can we do to help you more concisely? Okay, can you unmute there? Good.
Thank you, Sir Ernie. For now, I think one of the concrete things that the group can help us with, something that's urgent, more importantly, is once we start the work for the Department of Agriculture, for the work to ensure that we have a department again, we can get in touch with your group to ensure that we have support, and there's more of us in the agriculture sector who will call for it and also meet with legislators. So that's one of the things probably that one of the urgent things that we can collaborate on. And I think there's if the group is also open to partnership in terms of supporting some of our sites, especially the Savings Club or the coastal communities, some of our sites in Antique, in Siargao, in Leyte, or in Zamboanga, in the ZSP. So that's also something that we can also discuss and collaborate in the future.
Thank you very much.
That's detailed enough.
Yeah, actually, as a practice, we talk to you after this to get more detail, but at least people know generally where we're going. Thank you very much, Candice. May I turn it over to you, Robert, for both the end of this
Yes.
forum?
Well,
Thank you, sir.
congratulations, Candice, for really doing a good presentation. In the interest of time, let's already call Oscar Barrera for his first question. Oscar, go ahead.
I'm Oscar Barrera, and I'd like to know what is the rationale for delineating fishing areas, let's say 3 kilometers for municipal, and then and so on. What is the reason for this 3 kilometer distance?
Thanks for that question, Oscar. Well, ang batas po natin ay nagde-delineate ng ating fishing ground. So, 15 kilometers from the coast, that's for municipal fishers, and there's a clause in the IRR of the amended Fisheries Code of the Philippines that small scale commercial fishers may enter as long as they met some of the certain conditions, and then 15 kilometers beyond is for the commercial fishers. So ang nature po ng delineation natin is to ensure na yung mas malapit sa coast po mabibigyan ng preferential rights yung ating mga municipal fishers. So since they have smaller boats, they can't really go far out to the sea. So maigi and a matter of equity also na sila yung mabibigyan ng parang sila yung may priority access sa municipal fishing ground natin. And then at the same time also, some of the gears na allowed within municipal waters, yun po yung mga nasasabi nating relatively hindi ganun ka-destructive sa habitat. Like hindi po siya nagtatouch sa bottom or hindi po siya active gear. Kaya po yan po yung some of the, I think, some of the reasons kung bakit may delineation pong ganito yung ating municipal waters.
Is that okay? All right, Oscar?
One question lang kasi I would like to ask a follow-up, pero I think
Very
I'll
quick.
do this one question lang eh.
Okay.
Yes, Oscar, and I'm also, in the interest of time, please let me know if I'm speaking too fast because I also want to answer many questions as we can in the given time.
Okay, we'll go
Robert-
first to Vicky and then go back to those people's second
Yeah,
question.
Robert, I just have to relate to what the chairman said. The chairman told me, and it's been at 1 to 2 questions, not
Correct.
this one.
Yes, okay. Okay, so let's call Vicky. Go ahead.
Congratulations. I love your presentation. Maybe we can partner. We're also in many areas in Quezon, no? And my question is, how does one deal with commercial fishing? They really are a big threat to these small fisher folks. We've tried to build fish sanctuaries in Pililla and cages, fish cages, crab cages in Panukulan, and we've done mangrove development. What else can be done?
Thank you so much for the efforts that your organization is doing, Ms. Vicky. Aside from protecting or ensuring the preferential rights of our municipal fishers, you're also doing habitat protection work. And that's really one of the significant things that we need to do and one of the pressing actions that we need. In terms of what else can be done to deter commercial fishers inside municipal fishers, I think your organization can also support the law enforcement initiatives of the local government unit. And at the same time, our report, if you see any, if the LGU, check with the LGU, if there's no ordinance allowing the entry of small scale commercial fishing vessels.
Sometimes it's the LGU that has the connect with this big commercial fish. Yeah. So
And
that's
I think
difficult.
that scenario is also a recurring problem, unfortunately, in other areas. But I think one of the immediate things also that can do is report it. There's a platform called Karagatan Patrol. I'll also share it in the chat. So that's a very user-friendly, and everyone can access the information there and can see which vessels are encroaching within municipal waters.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vicky. And I would love to know more about your organization and what you're doing in Quezon.
We have plenty of areas. Maybe we can team up. In Region 4A, Calabarzon, I think I have about 50 areas. Many of them coastal. With coastal, yeah.
Excellent,
Thank you,
excellent.
Ms. Vicky.
Okay, so for further, Vicky has been very helpful and supportive of the agriculture industry. So maybe Vicky, you can quickly just text communicate directly with Candice, no? So we have a second contest, biglang nawala, no? So nagtatanong. So let's go back to Oscar, your second question, Oscar. Go ahead.
Yeah. Don't you think it will be a better policy to instead of kilometer distance, more on depth of water to be the delineation between municipal and commercial? Because our coastline, for example, there are areas where the coastline goes far away, so many kilometers, but it's shallow, still shallow. And there are parts where it's just, let's say, half a kilometer away and it's already deep. So, and there are hydrographic maps all over. I mean, NEMIA has this, which shows all of our coastlines, the depth of the water at various distances. So I think that should be a better guide. Maybe that should therefore resolve these conflicts between commercial and small municipal fishing folk, because I think this is a problem that's going on, and small fishing folks have smaller boats and their ice, and they buy ice. If they go out too far, the ice has melted already, and so they return to base, to home grounds, because they have no more ice. It's not enough, and it's actually governed by the size of their boats. So I'd like to ask if if that policy of a kilometer distance can be reviewed, because it has no relation to actual depth of water, which is more relevant. Thank you.
Thanks for that question. Thanks for raising that, Oscar. And that's also one of the considerations that we've been discussing, especially with the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources and the DNR NAMRIA, who's in charge of the delineation and the mapping of our fishing grounds. However, when we spoke with NAMRIA about that, nakita nga natin na kung in terms of FATOMs siya, there could be some coastal LGUs, especially on the eastern side facing the Pacific, na very close to the coast. Ang iba nga pong areas, kung titingnan natin siya as FATOMs, mas malapit siya sa coast ng at least 500 meters. And with that naman, parang makikita natin na mas malaki yung fishing ground na mawawala sa ating mga maliliit na mangingisda if ma-pursue po yung if magiging FATOMs siya and not distance. And again, kaya nga po tinitingnan natin na distance siya, like for now 15 kilometers from the coast and not that, to have enough fishing area for our municipal fishers to give them preferential rights. Kasi as sa nakikita nga po natin, sila yung mas kailangan ng suporta, especially priority access to the fishing resources. Thank you for raising that, Oscar.
Right. Yes. Oh, let's go to Meneleo Carlos. Please, we have 15 minutes left, so let's rush this. Yep.
Thank you. I would like to find out whether there is any information about the needs for small ice plants or small cold storage plants to support the fishing industry.
Sorry, I didn't get the name nung nagtanong po ng question.
Mr. Carlos, Meneleo Carlos Jr.
Thank you.
I asked
Question,
whether
Mr.
you
Carlos.
have the information about the requirements for ice plants or cold storage plants to support the fishing industry in the different municipalities.
Yes. Actually nga po, Sir Carlos, no, our amended fisheries code encourages the LGUs talaga to set up cold storage facilities at mga ice plants sa areas nila to ensure na in terms of yung sa pag-transport ng ating catch ay may enough na parang facility to ensure na hindi masisira yung isda. I think if you're interested, sir, to identify which areas could be are strategically in need of these cold storage facilities, you can get in touch with the nearest provincial fisheries office, or better yet, the regional BFAR office, because they would have a list of where the cold storage facilities are and
Okay.
which areas are in need na mas dapat po talagang yun yung lagyan. Kasi there are also instances na yung LGUs have too much funds, and I think it's also good intention na mag-establish ng cold storage facilities and ice
Okay.
plants. Unfortunately, masyadong malayo siya sa mga fish landing facilities. So instead of going to that fish landing area, sa ibang nearer na cold storage facility pumupunta yung mga mangingisda. So hindi po nagagamit yung na-establish. So it's better talaga to consult with the PFO and the regional BFOR and get advice on where are the strategic areas for the establishment or support of these cold storage facilities.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Next, we have Ike. Please come. Go ahead.
Yeah, Ms. Candice, what is your relationship with the LGUs? Are you a consultant, an advisor, and how do you get in? Do they welcome you? And a follow-up question to that, who do you work with there? Do they have an environment officer or a livelihood officer? Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you, Sir Ike. And that's the core of our fish forever work at Rare. No, we choose yung mga areas or yung mga bays na significant, especially on larval dispersal data. And our relationship with LGUs is parang in mga sites that, for example, when we start in new sites, like kinakausap talaga firsthand yung mayors and yung Municipal Agriculture Office to explain to them kung bakit kailangan yung community fisheries resource management, kung bakit kailangan yung mga programs for sustainable management of fisheries resources. And I think it's also because on the nature and the design of the program, and there has been a lot of success stories that empowers the communities and supports the coastal communities in many of our sites. Kaya receptive naman po yung mga kasama nating LGUs. And really, yung first po talaga natin tinatanong is how can we help the LGUs to achieve yung goals nila in terms of protecting their marine resources and ensuring na those who will benefit will be the coastal community. So I think that's how we do it. First, we really anchor on the need of the coastal communities, and we work from there. For example, ensuring that we help them in mapping their fishing ground, in empowering yung mga M-farmcies nila na nasa area, among others. And for your second question, sino usually yung mga kausap natin? First, it's the mayors, of course, kasi kailangan naman talaga ng approval or support ng mayors yung mga programa sa LGU. And we also closely work with the Municipal Agriculture Office, and kasama din po dyan yung mga fisheries technician. Kung meron pong Municipal Environment Office, that's also part of the team that we work with along with the MPDCs at saka sa mga barangay level na na mga established na management councils.
Right. Good. Thank you. Okay. And next, we have 8 minutes left. Ernie Villaluna, go ahead.
Hi, good
You can
morning.
lecture. Yep.
I just have several questions, but I'm allowed only to ask for one at the moment. Anyway, Candice, do you monitor also the post-harvest losses of the fish is the way it is handled, and it gets into the market, and they normally be dumped only on the floor, and the cement maybe are not properly flat.
Did I hear your questions po correctly, sir? If we monitor post-harvest losses? Sorry, medyo nakat po yung audio.
Yes,
Tama.
I'm also involved in other organizations,
Mhm.
and of course, we try to get some aid from Australia. And we asked a guest, from BIFAR, and we learned that the post-harvest losses is about 25%, after the catch, because these are primarily just the handling, of the catch. Others, they use stainless steel tables, so that this place will just slide. I know that it's not completely lost, because all of those later on that cannot be sold during the day, they're converted to daing.
Mhm. Or sardines, sir. Yung mga daing na sardines, sir. Yes, and thank you, Sir Ernie, for raising the important question on monitoring post-harvest losses. Kasi isa yan sa mga usually na-overlook talaga na monitoring mechanism, especially sa fish landing area. So one of the things, sir, na we are going to ensure na ma-monitor natin and also minimize yung post-harvest losses is we also work with LGUs kasi mandated ang LGUs to do catch documentation. So once a fisher lands their catch sa kanilang market, kailangan meron silang sort of monitoring to parang tally kung ano yung mga na-catch nila. And we are helping in terms of ensuring na efficient yung record keeping nila and ensuring na ano yung effective na value chain from the fish landing towards from the fish landing to the traders and to the market para po ma-monitor po yung magiging flow nung trade ng ating catch. So that's one of the things that we are doing, sir, related to monitoring post-harvest losses, yung ensuring yung mechanism for catch documentation and reporting sa fish landing na
Right. Next, we have.
also seeing, Sir Robert, some familiar faces here.
Yeah, kaya nga. So,
po,
please reserve, may dalawa pang
we were
tao.
together for the
Question.
lobbying ng Department of Agriculture ng
Yes,
farm,
yes.
Ms. Chingling.
Okay, yeah, so but nauna yata, okay, ladies first na ba? Shall we, okay lang sa'yo, Melcor? Kasi ikaw nauna.
Yes, hi,
Sige.
good morning. Good morning
Oh,
to
sige. Go ahead.
nasa business ako ng actually, ang question ko is related sa technology, kasi nung pandemic, siyempre, sarado lahat. I'm in manufacturing business. So, sarado yung lahat yung market ko and then nagtilapia ako. Ang ginamit ko is recycled aquaculture system. Ngayon, nakita ko yung mga sa YouTube. And then somebody asked me, Mel, do you know technology from Vietnam? Sabi ko maraming technology sa YouTube. No? So, Miss Candeze, parang na-miss out mo yung technology. In fact, maraming opportunities sa municipal fisheries. When it comes, basta may technology, kuryente, kasi nakita ko yung Australia, abalone industry, hindi na sa labas ng dagat, inland na, inland. And then nakita ko rin yung lobster industry sa state or inland na tilapia, 5,000 square meters sa Poland, inland. No need for bigger fish pan, hindi na, inland, recycle. Kaya nung tinitignan ko nung pumunta ako, somebody's offering me tabi ng ng dagat diyan sa Mindoro. Sabi ko kailangan ko aquaculture na tabi ng dagat. Kukuha lang ako ng tubig doon for lobster. Lobster. Gagamit lang ako ng solar. Kasi nung nagpunta ako, bibili sana ako ng wiring para sa kuryente. Sabi sa akin ng mga salesman sa kuryente, Sir, kung probinsya yan, baka yung kuryente mo ninakaw na. Yung wiring sa labas. So, ang tanong ko, bakit wala sa technology yung yung
presentation.
Presentation. Parang lacking. We have to move faster. Ang number one exporter ng lobster is Vietnam. Vietnam. Tapos sumusunod ng Indonesia. There's about 7 billion market for lobster. Meron na tayo, Surigao. Palawan, and then second, Karanginan. kung may kuryente lang sa mga probinsya, pwede na i-process yung mga ano yan eh, mga byproduct na yan eh. Ha?
Okay,
Malaking
so
potential ng Philippines.
Oh,
Yeah?
you're,
Yes.
you're right, sir. Napaka-vibrant na ng, kumbaga, aquaculture technology natin sa Pilipinas, no, both for commercial and inland municipal fishing. Although ang focus po ng discussion natin ngayon is on municipal capture fisheries. So these are the fisheries na nasa dagat, nahuhuli po sa dagat. But you're right, sir, ang laki rin ng contribution ng ating inland na fishing for aquaculture, both for municipal and commercial, to food security. And yan nga po din yung one of the strategies ata ng V4 ngayon is to ramp up and provide support for technology for aquaculture and inland fishing, like yung mga technology na na-mention po ni Sir Melco.
yes, very good, very good. So now we have a few more minutes. So let's go to Ching. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good morning, and thanks for your presentation. Well, mine is related also to that of Melcor's. It's because the fisheries, our fishing grounds have been long declared as overfished. And I think the last presentation of Drusilla, the Undersecretary for Fisheries, is that catch is diminishing by 20% a year. So why not make part of the key projects small-scale aquaculture nga? I mean, instead of we always just give fishermen more boats, but the fishing resources are not there. Even our so I think it needs not just even technology, but there should be a standard set for small-scale aquaculture so that we can have extensive farms. I mean, as simple perhaps as just putting a hole in the ground and stocking it with bangus, tilapia, or even shrimp, right? Even just extensive to an extent of even stock and forget. And let's build up our smallholder aquaculture, because I think our regulations now even just prevent it. Other countries are already organizing all these smallholders and trying to group them together to bring them better technology, but we haven't even started with having them just increase the farms, the smallholder farms. Thank you.
Okay, Candice, what's your comment, Candice?
Yes, thanks, Miss Chingling, and it's nice to see you here po, ano. Kasi matagal po kaming magkasama niya ni Miss Ching sa DFAR po na advokasya po natin para sa pangisdaan. At yes, you're right, ma'am, no. Madami talagang focus yan ng DFAR na i-empower talaga yung ating aquaculture and provide support for technology, facilities, even financial access to some na balak ng gumawa ng small scale na inland aquaculture. And I think po really that's also an effective strategy to ensure na our fish production can keep up with the need for food security. At the same time, just to really to observe din yung mga safeguards na nire-require, for example, ng BFAR tsaka ng DNR, establishing yung ating mga fish ponds and the management and the operation of yung mga fisheries natin na nasa for example yung nasa may fisheries agreement and yung mga fishing areas na nasa mga river basin. So I think that's an effective way to go about it also, but at the same time it's really prudent to observe the environmental safeguards to pursue with these operations in aquaculture.
But you're saying that rare is mainly only marine capture.
Sorry, ma'am?
Rare's programs are only for marine capture. You do
Yes,
not do any aquaculture at all.
Our focus is on municipal capture fisheries and the municipal fishers. Although and you probably know also, ma'am, no, the pangingisda natin gawing tama, the Panagat Network na magkasama tayo sa advocacy for DFAR. Meron tayong mga kasamang mga NGOs doon who are supporting yung mga municipal na aquaculture practices at katrabaho yung may mga community partners na nag-establish po ng ganito at sinusuportahan ng mga kasama natin NGOs. So if you need to get in touch with them also, ma'am, we can refer you to the NGOs na kasama po natin doon.
Okay, thank you.
Very good, very good. For the last question, we'd like to call our president. Okay, Ernie, go ahead.
Point of order. We start on time, we end on time, so I just take the last minute and then we proceed. Basically, we have to end because of respect to end our video stops at 9. No? So basically, let me just say this. Mr. Yupanco heads probably the most powerful part of this group. It's called Leads and Needs. No? He heads it. No? So let's be in touch. Number 2, I'd like to say that you're concentrating on this topic. And I'd like to say this. We need people like you, and we'll bring it. No, we'll bring it. Basically, this conflict about the fathom versus the distance. We're already in it. We're already there. But what I want from you, if possible, is get a paper that says conditional. In other words, you say, I want something creative. A contribution of this forum is people like you who give creative ideas. Write something and we'll give it. Because right now our position is too simple. It's yes or no. No. What I want you to do is what I heard from you. Put it in writing. Make it a bit scientific to say that it is so much, but if it is this distance, it is so much, etc. Okay, so anything about it? So, Mr. Chair, I'd like to say that, as you know, I think you're the best entrepreneur in town, right? and actually, Leads and Needs is a more powerful side than our side. Our side is regular. There's more powerful. See the action. So, Mr. Chair, we have to end at 9. I want to say, Candice will be in touch. Please do that, because if we do that, okay, we have something very creative, and I think it's correct. It's not yes or no. It's basically, it is this, all this, and all that, and the conditions. No? Intelligent, because right now what I've seen in Congress, and we're part of that now, is they're emphasizing too much the phantom. So, and in fact, there's something complicated. So, Mr. Chair, I leave it to you. Thank you very much.
All right, good. And ang dami pa mga good inputs, good questions, etc. But we have to close because our good guest has to do another appointment or something. But so we'd like to go on to the Secretariat. Can we present this? Of course. Okay. Umpisahan muna natin. Okay, this certificate of appreciation goes to Miss Candeze Mongaya as a resource speaker for today. We'd like to thank you. Please accept this certificate of appreciation as our resource speaker. Thank you, Candeze. Yes, and ang dami ka pang I will make you a member of the Leads and Needs sa ABC map. Plus, madami ka pang kailangan explain sa amin. Like, for example, yung overfishing naman. No? So, with all of these things, I guess we have to do a part 2, and maybe we can invite somebody from the government to hear the sympathies and requests of the group. No? So, I'd like to thank you, Candeze. Okay,
Thank
you want
Sir
to say
Robert.
your
And yes, the issue of overfishing is another wicked problem that I think we need to do that. And I'm looking forward to more discussion about this.
Yeah. Tinanong ko kay ChatGPT, ito daw ang biggest problem mo, overfishing. Okay.
Thank you, sir, and thank you so much for inviting us and for taking interest on the state of our municipal capture coastal fisheries.
Yes. By the way, Candeze, what's your educational background? Where did you take your program or your education?
My background, my undergraduate and master's is focused on journalism. I started as an environment journalist and eventually transitioned into marine conservation advocacy. So I've been this work from the University of the Philippines. So I've been here I've been doing conservation work for more than a decade now, since being a journalist a long time
We
ago.
need a lot of people like you in government. Diba? So, Ernie, pag na-appoint ka na as cabinet, please have in mind si Candeze as maybe undersecretary or something, no?
And Sir Ernie, please have in mind the Department of Fisheries also. So
correct. Ikaw yung magiging fishery director. Directors.
I used to be a secretary and an undersecretary. I'm not going back, but we in the private sector have a great role and we have the connections now. So we'll support you. And then people like Robert and of course Bernie Yap, who the wind beneath all our wings. We will succeed. That's why we're gonna talk to you right after this.
Yes. Okay. Now, Candeze can be excused. I know she's got another Zoom, but the group informally starts now. We can still stay and make a little amongst us. Yung may alam, like Melchor has good inputs, etc. And then now, can we have, of course, our next what they call that resource activity next week, July 18, is agricultural science work. We have guests. Okay, can somebody, Bernie, can you explain?
The guest is Dr. Nona Win Agustin, who is the newest outstanding young scientist for agricultural science under the National Academy of Science and Technology.
Amazing. Yes. What's